Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And this is Questions Coffee Cars 175. If you're new here, how do you get a question in?
Follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning I put a post out asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted and we start the show.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
With all of the EV rebates gone, do you think competition will help drive down the prices of EVs? Or are we stuck with high prices forever? I think it's going to be tough to bring down the prices, but I do believe that there'll be more money on the hood, better incentives, maybe lower interest rates if you plan to lease or finance.
Okay, so if this is news in British Columbia that the EV rebates were canceled last week, and the Quebec has added them back in. But the federal one is gone. We have a new government, but we'll see if they reinstate that. It didn't come up at all, zero in the election here in Canada. Okay, so I think we're kind of at the point where I want to be with electric vehicles. I want car manufacturers to compete for your business. If you make a better mousetrap and they claim that their EVs are better than gas cars and they save you money in the long run, put that information out there, let people vote with their wallet and let the market decide. I really truly believe putting incentives in place skews the market for certain trims and certain models. This is going to really, show what is popular and what isn't.
And I think that's it. Compete for your money. If you lower it, Honda, Acura with their EVs, they've really have lots of incentives. You see it with GM, plenty of incentives. Like I said, lower interest rates. If you do that, people will start looking at your product saying, I can get this for this much a month versus this much for this much a month. And they will more than likely choose the one that offers the best value.
So what we saw was car companies putting the money in their pocket and the taxpayer putting money in the consumer's pocket. This way, you get the taxpayer money out of the pocket of the consumer and let the car company reduce the cost of the vehicle. Now we're going to start to see the real cost of these things.
And they are expensive to make, but what they end up doing is they balance it out across the portfolio. I think it is tough for these manufacturers to produce an electric vehicle with all those extras, including driver assist technology at a really, really affordable price point. Not good news about GM's 6.2-liter V8 engines. Hopefully they will be quick to help customers who are stuck, especially after paying over $100,000 for some of these trucks.
Well, this is their premium engine offering. This is the Hot Rod V8. We drove it in the Silverado last summer. We were amazed by the power. Cruises along, and it has the cylinder management. And I think part of the problem with this was the cylinder management, and the auto start stop feature was causing havoc with the engines.
Well, it says here 2021 to 2024 models. I got all this online. The engine failures are linked to engine component supplier issues. GM says that it actually opened and closed 3 separate investigations, one in 2022, 2023, and 2024. The new investigation has led to a stop sale and a recall of the L87 6.2-liter V8. The stop sale refers to unsold 2024 models that are on the dealer's lot. The recall affects almost 600,000 vehicles.
That's a lot.
2025 models are not affected, and it doesn't affect the 5.3-liter V8 either. Dealers will replace or repair the engine if necessary. If the engine does require repair or replacement, a higher viscosity oil, new oil fill cap, oil filter, and owner's manual correction will be used.
That's a techie talk there from Andrea.
Yeah.
It's not good. Listen, when you have to fix or repair or replace 600,000 motors, that's not good. So
it's going to cost them a lot of money.
It's going to cost them a lot of money,
Yeah.
And this is why they drag their feet on these things. They try to do it with technical service bulletins and maybe recalls, and then that's it. It's all done. So it's an amazing engine, but there's problems. So we'll have to work through it.
I mean, it is a concern for sure, and it's not great for GM.
It's not like they haven't been making this engine for a long time.
Strange.
So something's happened with the suppliers.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the new Slate Auto EV truck? Apparently, they will start under $30,000 in the U.S. Zach and I were just talking about
Well,
this.
I'm always suspicious of they say it's going to cost this amount of money. We heard over and over. I think wasn't the Cybertruck supposed to be 37,000 or something
It's
like that?
supposed to be low, but
Yeah,
obviously it's not.
And then the cheap Model 3, we still haven't seen the cheap one.
No.
So
Or
yeah,
Model
it's easy.
2.
Yeah, it's easy to make these announcements when you're showing it. I think the whole concept is cool as hell. I like
Yeah.
the look of it.
Me too.
I think that the fact that you can take a little pickup truck that's a rear wheel motor only, it's electric, and the body is made of composite materials. If you want to change the color, you wrap it. And then you can add a kit on the back to turn it into a small SUV.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. On the inside, you bring your own technology.
Yeah.
You can use your own Bluetooth speaker or put an iPad on there. It's cool.
Yeah, it's supposed to arrive late next year with no radio, no speakers, no touchscreen, no fancy automated drive features, hand crank windows, and a single color. As Zach said, if you want something different, you can wrap it. Interestingly enough, when we speak to manufacturers in Canada, they say that Canadians buy a higher spec trim. They want the extra features. They want the driver assist technology. They want all of that tech. In the US, manufacturers say that consumers are happy to buy a stripped down base model. So it will be interesting to see how this all plays out. I mean, it reminds me of, you know, cars back in the day where you rolled down the window yourself.
I
and
think
you got your own radio system or stereo system to put in from A&B sound.
So I think that it's really targeted at the Gen Z and the millennials that will look at things like wind down windows as a novelty.
Yeah.
They didn't grow up with that.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, look at this. You turn this and the window goes. That is so cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not that big. And it's cool looking, and it's a clean slate, I think is why they called it that. I actually had this idea, and Andrea can vouch for me. I said I would like to come up with a car company called Basic.
Yeah.
Just a basic car, but just simple. And then there's 3 trims. There's good, better, and best. So the cars would be called Basic Good, Basic Better, Basic Best. And you basically have a simple car, and then you can add a few things, but still it's always simple and inexpensive. That was my idea. And so they're running with that with Slate. I think it's a great idea. I think just the novelty of it, at least initially it will take off.
And the fact that it's an electric vehicle is impressive. I mean, you never have to go to a gas station to fill up. It might work really well for people. I'm not sure what the range is.
I think
What's the battery
it's 150
size?
miles for the 150 miles for the smaller battery,
Okay.
and more for the larger battery. It's just rear-wheel drive, one electric motor. This is going to be highly targeted at places like California, right, where they don't worry about all-wheel drive. And I think it's a launching point for something different, and I think that is cool.
I think it's cool too. I hope it's successful for them and I hope people buy it. But it'll be interesting to see based on the research that's done by manufacturers, especially in Canada. I always enjoyed seeing questions, coffee, and cars and reviews. Great, thank you. When you need some parts, such as an air filter, would be the tariff included? Will it cost more for those? You know, vehicles, or let's talk about parts under CUSMA, the Canadian, US, Mexico agreement, are not affected at this time by the 25%. However,
I think they're wondering about the other way into the U.S.
Well, I was going to say, however, yes, I believe that you will pay more for things. 100%.
Now, I'm wondering if it's targeted just at auto parts for assembly. That's not clear. The whole thing is clear as mud. See, Canada didn't do auto parts in the reciprocal tariffs.
No.
The United States just this past week included parts, and this is going to be a huge problem for car companies to be able to make vehicles. I mean, this is turning the whole thing on its head. Mary Barra last week said the tariff situation is going to cost General Motors $5 billion just this year. So that money has got to either be absorbed by the manufacturer. I don't think so.
No.
It's going to be passed on to the consumer. So they got to make that money up somewhere.
It's going to be passed on to the consumer. We just watched a news story this morning coming from the New York Auto Show and how it's wrapping up. and just how they did some interviews with people there saying, do you think the cost of vehicles are going to go up? Or everybody says, oh yeah, 100%. Now our video is dropping, and our new Prime Minister in Canada will be meeting with Trump. He will have yesterday. So we'll have to see how it all played out. All the information will probably be available as this drops.
Nothing is going to get decided on their first meeting.
No.
And so I think that it's going to be a long process. They want to renegotiate the USMCA. I think the big sticking point, I will state this right now. I think the big sticking point for the United States is they do not like Canada's supply management system for agriculture.
No.
And they're going to go after that until they get some kind of resolution on it. But anyway, we're going to have to wait and see. Tariffs. It's going to be a big problem for everybody. I saw an interview on Bloomberg of the head of the Los Angeles port, which is the busiest port in North America. And he said shipments from China, containers, down 40%. And they're going to drop even farther, because he said the 40% reduction was when for the shipments to go to port and then to go on the ships and then get shipped across. He said this was all the stuff that was from a month or so ago, all the tariff talk. And then as it moves forward, he said he thinks it's going to drop even further. So if you want to get those cheap Nike running shoes, or whatever it is that's made in China, it's going to become scarce.
It's going to become scarce, and it will be, costing a lot more money for you, including probably phones that are made in China from Apple.
No, they've exempt that. Of course they did.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They exempted
computers and
That's true.
phones.
I remember that
You can't.
now.
If you put 150% tariff on people's iPhones, there would be a mutiny. Anyway, let's move on from this.
It's hard to keep track these days, isn't it? I also wanted to mention that Subaru Canada will be shipping more of their vehicles now from Japan to Canada. Because we don't have any issues with or tariffs with Japanese vehicles. Love the show. Would like your opinion. Go for the Toyota Crown Signia or wait to see for the 2026 RAV4 Hybrid. I think
easy.
you should wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're not in a rush, which it sounds like you're not, I would wait to see what it looks like.
Well, also, you are going to be able to play the game of wait for the newest and the latest, or get the one that's already in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So you're going to start to see images of the new RAV4, I would suspect, in the next month. And then there'll be details about it. And then you're going to be able to, sort of make your decision before they go on sale, supposedly by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then you can decide, okay, I'm going to get you can decide to get the Crown or the RAV4. The Crown runs on the 4th generation hybrid system. We would suspect that the RAV4 will run on the 5th generation, or maybe even a 6th generation. We don't know. We'll have to wait until we get all the details.
I'm thinking 5th, like the Camry, but we'll wait and see. A U.S. viewer reached out to me, and he was told, or a friend of his was told, by a U.S. dealership that the RAV4 2026 model will hit dealerships next summer. We've heard from Canada that it will be earlier. So we wait and see, but it seems like there's some mixed messages out there. I'm super excited to see what is in this RAV4. What does the interior look like? What does the exterior? I'm also excited to see the unveiling of the CX-5 by Mazda.
Okay, so Scott McKenzie is the PR in Canada, not only for Toyota Canada, but also for the factory. And they make the RAV4, most of them for North America. The lion's share are made in Canada. That factory has already started integrating into the line the next generation RAV4. So these are basically kind of like hand assembled as they go down the line. They do it very, very slowly. The first ones that go through the factory are just a proof, kind of a concept. They have different terms for them. I can't remember what it's called, but basically the proof that they can make it in the factory. And those will all get crushed. They will never be seen. They'll never see the light of day. No. And it's all top secret at the factory, he told me.
Yep.
They shut the whole thing down. Nobody's allowed in or out, basically, when they do that, because they don't want anybody to see it.
Yes.
And then what happens is they start increasing the speed at which they can make the production models. And he told me it's going to be the fall. So I don't believe this next summer thing. I think it's going to be the last quarter of this year.
I'm feeling fall is a little bit too early for them to be hitting dealerships. I could be wrong. I think there's also tariffs at play because these are made in Canada, and that may also affect when the U.S. will be getting them. Look, it's a wait and see right now. In my opinion, could be wrong. I think fall is a little bit quick. I find it strange that a company like Toyota doesn't come up with a fix for the engine noise in the 2023 and I'm sure other year RAV4. Every time I drive mine, it reminds me of an old 54 Dodge I had with a very worn engine in the 60s. Sure wouldn't buy another Toyota.
Well, they've been fully aware of this since the vehicle was introduced in 2019, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And they, I think maybe it's also to get people to buy the hybrid. That's my theory. I've said this years ago. I think they made the gas one noisy, so you buy the hybrid.
You are so right. It's noisy. Every time we do a review of the RAV4 gas model, we say, wow, this thing is loud. I've heard things like you go into a dealership and you drive the gas model and it's loud, and then they put you in the hybrid, and then you go, oh yeah, I want the hybrid. Because there is a big difference in the noise level between the two. Look, there are other Toyota models that are quieter. But yeah, the RAV4, we've even spoken to Toyota about it, and they just kind of look like, I don't know, they don't really say
anything about it.
anything.
It's just one of those, it sure hasn't stopped sales, though. It sure hasn't stopped sales.
No,
And,
people still buy it.
so I was just going to say, Andrea,
Yeah.
now we've had 2 questions about the RAV4 in one video.
I know.
Is there another one?
There is not.
There's another one? Okay, so.
But we've tried to give the RAV4 a bit of a break, but a new one's coming. So
Yeah, and-
people are excited about it. It is a Toyota.
All right, so I suspect that our speculation is RAV4 will only be sold as a hybrid for the 2026 model year. Don't think it's going to be offered in a gas. Good news is it should be quieter than the one you have. So don't write off the brand altogether just yet.
No.
We're going to have to wait and see.
No.
And it won't be long now.
Do we have any news on the Honda Prelude for Canada? I've seen videos of car reviews in Japan driving them on a Honda track. I love the look and want to get one as my Ruby. Yeah, the great news about the Prelude is that it's a hybrid. So fuel economy should be really good. I think it looks fantastic.
Are they doing a manual hybrid like they did with they had the Insight, the Buick Insight. No, the Honda Insight years ago. No, it wasn't the Honda Insight. It was the
I remember, yeah.
CRZ, I
Yes,
think it was, the little
something like-
hatchback, I
yeah.
think it was what it was called, was a hybrid and it was manual. Anyway, I think that this is one of the great marketing ploys, Andrea.
Fabulous.
No, hear me out.
Oh,
I think the Prelude
Mm-hmm.
is just really the Civic 2-door that they got rid of.
yeah, maybe.
So they go, oh, I know what we'll do. We'll just take the Civic 2-door, which they don't sell anymore, and we'll rename it Prelude. We'll give it a little bit of this and that. I think that's what we're dealing with.
I'm super excited about it. I don't really care even if it is a 2-door Civic. It looks cool. It's got a great nameplate, and I'm excited about it. It is supposed to arrive at the end of 2025. That's all I have. We are going to be seeing the Honda team soon for the Honda CR-V, and I will ask. I will see what they have to say about it.
These companies are always like, well, we don't talk about future products.
Yeah, mum's
and
the
then
word
I always
usually.
say to them, but we do. We're all about the future products.
Sure.
Then you try to get a couple of drinks in them. Can I get you a drink at the bar? By the way, and then sometimes you get an answer.
Not really.
No,
they're
they're-
usually pretty good.
They're all so trained up. In the
Yeah.
old days, you used to get a loose-lip PR guy with a couple of beers in him, and he would start spilling the beans. But now everybody's gone to communications training, and they're all locked down.
They
It's no
know.
fun anymore. It
And
used
they
to be
watch,
more fun.
they watch how much alcohol they drink too, so
Yeah.
we can't get to them. My question is about minivans. My son and his family are looking for a minivan for their family use. What are the best options available today? Are there new ones coming out for 2026 that might be worth waiting for? And are there used ones that could be recommended?
Well, they're so expensive.
So expensive.
The problem with minivans is they're so damn expensive. When you look at them, you're like, I can see now why SUV sales are so high. I get the whole minivan thing. I mean, it makes sense. It's the easiest thing to pile kids and strollers and car seats in and out of. Easy.
Yeah.
So you've got a front-wheel drive Odyssey with a 3.5-liter V6. You've got a front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive Sienna with a hybrid system only. And then you've got the new Carnival from Kia, which is hybrid or gas.
Yeah, and you've also got the Pacifica.
Like I said, of
And
course.
you've got a Dodge minivan as well. So I would say for used, Honda Odyssey or the Toyota Sienna hybrid. And then new ones, there is one that offers wonderful value, and that's the Carnival with different trims. And there's a hybrid. And that's the one I would probably buy because the interior looks great. I would stay away from the Pacifica as well as the Dodge only because there are reliability issues.
I believe that Odyssey is going to get a refresh. I haven't heard anything. There's rumors also that it might just go away. I don't know.
I don't know. But nothing new is coming.
No.
After the Carnival came out, the hybrid, that's all we know about. Okay, one more question. Love your channel. Thank you. Former Whistler, BC resident, now living in LA. I've been renting a 2025 VW TOAS base trim for a week now, and I love it. I've seen your reviews on the 2024 and 2025 models as well. I'm thinking of getting the 2025 TOAS base trim, but I'm concerned about VW's long-term reliability. Am I wrong about this concern? Do you recommend I lease instead of buying? Would value your opinion.
Well, the good news is somebody actually emailed me the other day, and he was looking at, I'm trying to remember the two cars, Crosstrek and Taos, and said, what do you think of them? And I said, I like them both for different reasons. Honestly, I'm going to tell you this right now. If I was going to buy a subcompact crossover, for me personally, I would get the Taos. I like the design. I like the size. I like the way it drives. I like the turbo engine. I like all of it. I'm not that hung up on how reliable it's going to be. It comes with a 4-year warranty.
I also think that the Taos has been out for a bit. It did have some issues at launch. There was a stop sale, but Volkswagen has worked on improving the reliability of that particular model. Is reliability a concern for Volkswagen? 100%. We've talked to Volkswagen about this. They said it's their #1 priority. If you are at all concerned, lease it. And then it's a good 3 or 4 year test drive. You can always buy it out in the end if you choose to.
Or just lease another one. Just
lease
keep
another.
the car. But you know what? So the whole thing is, are you going to be always just hung up on reliability? Because it seems that with Volkswagens, you get people that they've had nothing but trouble, or they've had zero trouble.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I like the product. You're driving it right now. You like it as well. Honestly, if it was me and I was in, I mean, our #1 pick in the subcompact space is the Crosstrek, but that's for our viewers. Like, we think it's the best all-rounder for you.
Great ground clearance.
Because it offers so much.
Reliability.
But personally, for me, what Zork likes, I'd go with Taos.
Yeah, I really like Taos too, and it's fun to drive. I mean, you're experiencing that now. Crosstrek has a CVT, fine. It's been reliable for Subaru, but it's just not a super fun drive, and that's what I like about Volkswagen, is that their vehicles are a little bit more engaging even in that subcompact class.
The only thing I don't know about your rental is you might want to check which year it is. If it's the new one with
It says 2025.
the rental is a 25? Yeah. Okay, so it has the new 8-speed automatic versus the dual clutch. I actually prefer the old dual clutch more, but I understand why they made the change. Either way, even if you bought it, it's got a 4-year warranty. So if you don't like it after 3 years or 4 years, you can always trade it in or lease it.
Or lease it. And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. If you want to get a question in, follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I post a photo of us holding coffees, asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted and we start the show.
See you then.